ChromaLuxe is the world's leading manufacturer of high-definition photo panels. Whether you're going for durability or appearance, ChromaLuxe is one of LexJet's most dependable solutions. A business in Jupiter, Florida counts on ChromaLuxe, and whenever they need it, they call LexJet. I recently sat down with the guys behind Shiny Prints and asked them, why metal and why ChromaLuxe?
Shiny Prints started in 2013. Pure passion and dedication has made the company the premier metal printer. I'd like to introduce you to the founder and COO, Will Heinitz, and co-owner, Matt D. Hi, gentlemen.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Matt, tell me how you two started working together.
I was working at a different place, running the digital department of a place called M&M Studios, and we used to do real fine art printing and stuff. And we wanted to outsource metal. The people that I worked for didn't want to do metal, but I knew it was going to be something that was really important. And he opened up a shop just up the road, so we went down there and talked to him for a few minutes. And I was getting pretty burned out, and I decided I was going to go into helicopters, being a helicopter pilot. So right as I was about to quit, I was sitting there thinking, man, this is so sad. I'm kind of giving up all this knowledge, and I'm not going to go into printing anymore. He calls me up and he's like, hey, does your company want to buy my company? And I was like, I don't think that they will. I can ask. He goes, well, do you want to buy my company? I was like, let me go look down there and look at this. And we ended up talking a little bit and kind of, I don't know, how long did we actually work together for? Like 6 months or?
Yeah, he basically started volunteering to work at Shiny Prints. So it was like free help. And I was paying him regardless. I was paying him here and there, for his time. And it wasn't a ton of profit, at that point. So, I was just paying him whatever, extra cash I had on hand or whatever. And he didn't even, ask for anything, but we developed a friendship over that time. And I'm very weary of people, and I've had partnerships before. So it's, having a partnership, which is something that he wanted to do half and half because he felt that I was a critical component to the business. And the more I got to know him, the more I realized he's very easy to get along with. It just wasn't any kind of tension or, we were always on the same page. It was just very easy. He's a very easy person to be around. So it just happened naturally over the 6 months. We developed, this friendship. And one day he was basically like, hey, okay, I'm ready. I think I want to, move forward. And he didn't counter my offer. He thought it was a very fair offer, which it was. I was expecting him to counter, but he didn't. And it was just, it happened so easily. It happened very easily. And here we are, 6, 7 years later. And, it's always been easy between us. We don't clash really. We talk about things and, we figure out what's best for the company, and we always find a solution. So it's just always been really easy. But at going back to when I first brought him on board, it was just, I was getting burned out. I built businesses, I built companies, and I had a lot of health related things going on. So I was very unmotivated. And, I felt overwhelmed at times, which is why I wanted to sell the company. And bringing him on board and his expertise and experience really made things a lot easier. So it was just the perfect fit for the both of us.
It must be, considering you were thinking of selling, and now here you are, 7 years later, still working well together.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at first I thought our weaknesses were the same, but as we started working together, I saw that he had a lot of skill sets that I didn't have, and his weaknesses were a little different. My weaknesses and skill sets were different, and we ended up, it really worked out. I work a lot more with the customers, but he's an incredible problem solver. And I kind of thought I was going to be the problem solver in this, but I realized he's actually the problem solver. But he's incredible at marketing and just understanding what the business needs to move forward. Where I kind of get stuck in, no, let's just milk this for all we can for what it is right now. He's pushing us forward, but I kind of keep the day-to-day stuff together. A lot of the technical stuff with the printing, but he's really good with the web stuff. So it's
well, let's talk about the printing, because I know I saw some of the prints behind you, and then a mini quick tour around your office there. Why exclusively prints on metal?
I think we started like that, and just to keep things simplified, let's just be really good at one thing, and let's just get, create this product and make it as best as we possibly can, and not have to try and spread ourselves too thin. And it's worked out so well. We just kind of stuck to that. We've talked about introducing in new products, but right now we've been growing so much, and we've been able to, give better customer service, and be able to just put out a much higher end product than most of the people that are trying to, do canvas and paper and all that kind of stuff. So eventually we might get into something else, but we're happy with the growth that we're experiencing right now.
Will, is that a printer I hear in the background every now and then?
That's probably the CNC machine. That's the machine that cuts the metal. So that's one of the very large machines that we have that kind of separate us from a lot of our competition is we do custom sizes as well as the largest size possible that you can go with this format, which is a 4x8 foot sheet. We can do custom shapes as well. Not a lot of companies do that. And that's, as Matt was saying, or you asking why we just do metal, it's, anybody could get up and going and then starting to print on metal. Relatively easy. It's a process, but anybody can just buy a printer and start printing. But to really perfect this process and get it to a level where you're dealing with the top professionals and artists and photographers in the world, you have to be on top of everything. And every little part of the process is so important. And if you cut one corner, it has a trickle-down effect to everything else in the process. And we're constantly figuring out how to make it better and how to be better than the other labs out there. If we did offer a different product, that would kind of take away from our efforts of constantly improving and perfecting this process, because there are so many moving parts. But yeah, that's the CNC machine in the background. That's what cuts our metal. It gives us that very nice, smooth edge that you get, makes it look thicker. Whereas a lot of other labs might be shear cutting it, where it's very choppy. It's not professional looking. It's got a different side profile. So it's those very small details that we take a lot of pride in.
So is that, I guess, one of the reasons why then you like to work with ChromaLuxe? Let's dive into that a little bit. Some of the reasons that stand out for you.
For ChromaLuxe, ChromaLuxe has been in this industry the longest. They've been in it for over 15 years, I believe. It's just started taking off about 5 years ago, like really become mainstream. A lot of companies have tried to get in the industry, but nobody does it as well as ChromaLuxe does. They have their ups and downs, like a lot of companies do, and manufacturing this product, it's not cut and dry. It's not that consistent, because you're dealing with a raw material of aluminum. So there are a lot of challenges on from ChromaLuxe, and Universal Woods has a lot to deal with and maintaining that consistency. But by far, this is the premium metal print substrate in the world, and I could say that with great conviction, because I have tried everything that's out there. I never just settle. You're talking about our transfer paper, the printers themselves, the aluminum that we put on the back. If there's any kind of advantage that we can get, we're going to take it. And we don't really look at cost. We look at, the quality of our product. And, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing that there's no other substrate that can compete with ChromaLuxe. But it's by far the premier. It's just, if we tell our customers that we're printing on something else besides ChromaLuxe, they're going to go somewhere else, because they know now that ChromaLuxe is it, and that everything else is just takes a big hit as far as quality goes.
Matt, what about you? What stands out for you?
Pretty much everything he said. There's nothing on the market I've seen that actually is as consistent, has as nice of a coating, and that just gets, like the color saturation, the blacks, that ChromaLuxe gets. If you look at acrylic and some of the other processes, they still don't they have some advantages, but overall, I mean, ChromaLuxe exceeds even what they call really high-end acrylic, because they can't hit the saturation, they can't hit the blacks. There's just something unbelievable about it when you compare the two right next to each other. And I just haven't seen anything else in the market or even come close, to what ChromaLuxe is producing.
So I haven't known you two for very long, but I'm picking up on the fact that you all are all about perfectionism. I know that on your website, I read it, you talk about quality over quantity. So let's talk about how that approach has contributed to your success. I mean, what are you looking for when you're wanting to hand a customer a final product? What are your expectations of yourself?
There's a lot of different things, there's so much that goes into it that even a lot of professionals don't understand, that are selling, a lot of volume, throughout the year. They're monitors. They don't understand a lot about color management, resolution, things like that, even though they are professionals. And so we try to really look at the images that are coming out. We try to catch, you're no matter what, even though we're doing lower volume, you still can't catch every flaw in somebody's file. But we actually care about our customers. We care about, and we understand that they're trying to sell this, and it's something that's, it's a passion for them. They care very much what happens, like how this is presented to the product, to their customer. So, we're looking at everything that we can. We're looking at the color, the contrast, we're looking at the sharpness, we're looking at, if there's defects and with us having a lower volume, there are defects in the metal, but, we will take the time to try to go around it. We'll reprint, we'll cut around it, and ChromaLuxe has been good because they'll, if there is a defect, a lot of times they'll reimburse us, but a lot of the other companies don't want to put that time in. It eats into a lot of time. But us having a higher quality product that comes out the first time, people are patient. We still have a very fast turnaround time compared to many of our competitors, and they are completely, they completely trust us, to deliver this to their customer straight from our shop. So they end up staying with us. Our customers become like family to us a lot of times, and they don't, generally go off, if there's a lower price somewhere, or, if we do have a problem or we do make a mistake, they understand. They're like, hey, you guys do a great job. You take your time, you help us, so, we end up having these really strong relationships with a lot of professionals that over the year, we might not do massive volumes, but they put in large orders, and, they're very, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, very faithful to us. We try to be with them too.
Will, what is it that your customers know or think about the process, the product? What can you tell me? Obviously, they expect a premium product, but as far as the printing process and that sort of thing is concerned,
our customers specifically.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that our customers have come to expect from us is that if there is a problem, that we're going to figure it out and solve it. There's no such thing as a perfect product, but the one thing that I can't take is having a problem with a print, why it's not printing right, or especially if there's something on our end. Matt actually flew down here to Jupiter because there's been a couple of prints that just aren't printing the way we would expect it to. So he made sure to come down here to Jupiter to, see it in person and see, what the issue is. Even though it's just happening on one file at the moment, he wants to, really drill down and understand why that's happening. And I'm the same way. I want to understand why, that problem is happening, even though it's on one image and nobody's really complaining. It's that drive to perfection. And with our customers, they come to expect that, hey, I have this issue with this, what do you recommend? How do we fix that? And we always come up with a solution for them. So I think that's the most important part of our business, is that support that we lend our customers. because we stand behind everything that we put out there. Even if it's a mistake by one of our customers, we will work with them and come with a solution, and not leave them in the dark, and not leave them where they feel like, that they've kind of had a loss. So we establish relationships with every one of our customers. It's almost like every one of them has a unique relationship with us. So that really benefits us as a company, being able to give that support to our customers on an individual basis.
How has your process changed or improved since you started working together all those years ago? What do you see differently, or that you like now, that was different from when you first started?
It's been a lot. It's been so much that I can't even cover everything in an hour. It's just so much. As good of a product that we had in the beginning, and you're talking about every month we're looking at a way to improve. We focus on one thing that we want to improve, and we were constantly of that mindset of where can we improve now? Where do we go next? Where we are now is light years ahead of where we were when, obviously when we were just putting this together, and we were on different printers, and technology has advanced, and
different ways that we've come, different solutions. I mean, you have to figure out a way. There's not like a product that you can just buy easily, that, for the backings, and what kind of extra features are you going to give? And how are you going to cut these materials? How are you going to, there's a lot that goes into it outside of the printing as well. How are you going to get those perfect edges, on your print? How are you going to, we have something called a edge mount, and we have a tuxedo mount. And basically there's these materials that come flush up to the edge. And, we noticed that a lot of people would come in from other places and show us their product, and that there would be little lips, and that just drove us crazy. So we would find ways to make sure that lip wasn't there, that everything was perfectly seamless. And it takes us a little bit more time. We lose a little bit, of our profit because of it, but overall we make it up with, high-end customers wanting to come to us and take, and make sure that they're getting the product exactly the way that they want.
Well, then it sounds like with technology, things are always sort of improving, and you're always making small adjustments.
Yeah. And some of it, is, you're literally just bending metal, but you're trying to figure out how to punch a hole in it, or, bend metal a certain way and be really consistent. But you want to, improve that too. It's not like, a lot of new technology coming, but that's where he's amazing. He'll figure out he'll call me at like 2:00 in the morning and be like, hey man, I was almost asleep and I just thought of this, and we got to try this in the morning. And, you work it out, and you end up finding a faster, better, more accurate way, just to get a backing on there, and look a little bit better,
So, well, you don't get that much sleep.
Yeah, my mind is always just thinking and running through things and trying to. I'll get stuck on a problem, and I won't be able to rest until it's solved somehow. It's just everything just needs a solution, and even things that I feel like I've solved before. One of my coworkers just mentioned something earlier today about the foam that we have. We cut the foam, and now we're realizing that takes up a lot of time. So, we're going to start looking for foam suppliers that maybe, already have it in certain strip sizes, so that we can just cut it down from that, just to save that much amount of time, because time is money. So even if it does end up costing us more for material, we can lower our labor costs. And that's how we're always thinking. And all of our staff is on board with that mindset as well. So they're always part of the solution as well, because they understand, we're trying to make their workflow a lot more efficient as well. So if we can make their lives easier, just, all the time I'll ask them how things are going, how can I make it more comfortable being on their feet, recommending, different kinds of shoes, or putting like mats down on the ground to help, with the fatigue of the stressors of being on your feet for a number of hours a day. We're always looking to improve and make it as comfortable as possible, because when you have happy workers, they're a lot more productive. So that's an area as well where I think that we treat our workers really well. We get the most out of them because they're happy to be here.
Well, gentlemen, is there anything that we missed? I feel like I've learned a lot about the process and why ChromaLuxe works well for you all, and the reason you do and choose what you do, and also the fact that, well, Will doesn't get a lot of sleep either.
I think the other thing the one thing that really makes us, that separates us is our website. We put a lot of work into our website. We're always trying to make that our most important worker because it does all of the hard tasks, and it just puts everything together for our workers, and it organizes everything right down to the order process. It holds the hand of the customer throughout the entire process. It'll let them know if their file is too low of quality to print, so that any kind of mistake, any kind of error, any kind of mishap that can happen during the ordering process, we've just ruled that out, because we can just go in there and verify all this different kinds of information with their file, what they want to order. So it's kind of like having one of our workers sitting over, looking over their shoulder, guiding them on what to do and how to place their order. That it just makes it extremely easy. And I think that's, especially now in today's age, you have to have a website that everybody's comfortable using. They need to be able to just go on that website and not have a learning curve. Just start clicking and being able to order what they want, or understand what exactly it is that they are ordering. So everything has information. It answers all their questions, because if the website's not going to answer their question, they're calling us, and that takes time away from us. So if we can have those sets, those 50 or so different questions that are very commonly asked, just implemented into the website somehow, that just saves a lot of time, and it makes it a much better experience for our customers to proceed and place their order.
Well, speaking of experience, I meant to ask you, tell me about working with LexJet, both of you.
I've worked with LexJet for many years, and I had started with a guy years ago when I was like a student in college that ended up his name was Sean McGettigan, and he actually just like helped me after hours. I got all this stuff together for a big presentation that I had, and like, this guy's amazing. I can't believe that he's like staying after work and like giving me all this phone support and stuff. And I just started building up a relationship with them, and I used them for a really long time. Sean ended up leaving. I ended up having another friend in the industry that was helping me out. And recently, a guy named Matthew, he started saying, hey, how can I help you, and all this stuff. And I was like, look, we've got a really good relationship going. You're going to have to really step up to the plate. I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. And he's just really, persistent about it. So we gave him a chance, and he's actually been incredible. He's been you can talk to pretty much anybody at LexJet, and they are incredibly knowledgeable on so many different topics. And if they're not, they will get somebody that will be. And everything from color management to new products, I'm constantly learning stuff from them, just being on phone calls, but they're proactive. They know what my business is, so they're always looking for solutions for us, not even just to sell us stuff. Like, I've actually had them like lead me on to other things, other types of technology that's not within this, because they want us to do well. And they've really been, exceeded, anything that I was expecting them to do.
And Will?
Yeah, my experience with LexJet doesn't run as deep as Max did. Him being in the printing industry for a lot longer than I was, but it started out when we ordered our heat press from them, when we were switching buildings and expanding. We had a really good experience. Their price was the lowest, and when you're ordering a heat press, it doesn't really matter which company you order it from, because it's coming from the same manufacturer that makes those heat presses. So that really didn't matter too much, but we did have a really good experience with that process. The sales rep, Matthew, was very knowledgeable with the process, and it felt very comfortable. At that time, we were using another reseller in Florida. We just had an amazing partnership with them and a relationship with them. And it was going to take a lot for us to switch to anybody else. But over the years, every time we had a situation or we needed something, LexJet was always there, despite us not really being a regular customer of theirs, but they were always willing to help And the same sales rep, Matthew, was still there all those years. He just usually companies, they go through different sales reps, and you're constantly, going through different, and they have to catch up, and they don't really know you, and they're not knowledgeable. But Matthew was always there, and he was always ready and willing to help anytime we had, maybe we might have needed paper in a rush or inks. They would always give us options, and them being much larger really was always helpful because they had warehouses that were local. They had much larger warehouses, which means that they had a lot of products in stock, where as a smaller company that we were using before, they didn't have a lot of those things. So it would be a lot more of a lead time, which was not their fault, but that's just, the nature of the business. But after a lot of consideration, it wasn't easy. We decided to use LexJet for our ChromaLuxe. And we were kind of worried because we had a known, with the previous company that was very positive, and here we were switching, which we trusted LexJet, but we weren't sure if we would get that same level of support. And, we explained to them what our expectations were, and they delivered in every way possible. And Matthew has been, always there, for a phone call, email, always responsive. Always advocating on our behalf to ChromaLuxe if there's any kind of issues or any kind of questions. So it's something that we went with, and we never looked back, and we never had any kind of doubts. It's been a very positive experience for us from the get-go.
It's nice to build the relationships. Like I said, I worked with a guy named Sean before, and then I've built this relationship with Matthew, and he, you can call them up. I don't have to, with a lot of the companies, you have to explain, hey, I've been working with this person, I need this, I don't even have to say my name. He's just like, hey man, and he's like, with COVID and all the things that have been happening, he was also great because he would foresee what was about to happen, or he knew what was going on. And, he'd call us up and be like, hey, I know that you order, this amount. Normally you might need to think about doing this. And, without us asking, or before we even knew that there was going to be a problem, he was already problem solving.
Anticipating your needs.
Yeah. And that's rare. I mean, like I said, it's rare to have someone with the knowledge and, that would anticipate your needs. So it's been great.
Well, I think that's a 5-star review right there.
Yeah, we've been very happy. So.
Well, I appreciate your insight and your expertise. They do say that what the best of relationships are is friendships. So clearly that's working out for you too as well. And I wish you all the success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
A heat press is a vital part of making ChromaLuxe and the dye sublimation process look as good as it does. And you're in luck, because LexJet has you covered. Sifa and Geonite presses pair perfectly with ChromaLuxe. Take a look at what they have to offer at their respective booths on the trade show floor, and then just contact LexJet with any questions you might have.